What is some of your practical advice in your book, Shared Wisdom, on how we can be avoiding some of these issues? I mean, some of them sound very difficult to deal with. For example, the polarization that we have in society, these big voices that are out there. You talk about how we shouldn't have them, but they'd kick up the biggest storm of all if you just got rid of them.
Yeah, and they're there because of the economic model underlying these things. I want to talk about two different approaches to doing this well. Okay, first is like an individual approach, and the second is a group approach. Okay, and the polarization comes in the group approach. Um, so we have a project that's uh, called loyalagents.org. It's all one word, no underscores or anything, and it's an attempt to make AI agents that work for you personally. So, we're rushing towards this world where everything is AI agents, but the questions come up, who does that agent really serve? Is it her serve Amazon or does it serve you, right? Also, what about edge conditions? If you put in something unusual, does it occasionally like blow up and give you weird stuff? Well, yeah, actually, it does. And sometimes they'll even do things that are illegal. You have to sort of have real guardrails. They're not good at guardrails at all. And then when you get networks of agents all talking to each other, you find they can get lost pretty quickly. Lost means they sort of forget what they're supposed to do. They begin to not follow what you'd like to see them do. So, how do you make sure that these agents work to fulfill the intent that you have and do it in a way that's legal, not going to get you in trouble, and reliable? Those are the questions that current AI just doesn't really answer. And so that's what we're doing is with the Stanford Law School and so forth. You should take a look at it. It's really interesting because it'll make you think about how do you design AI agents and networks of AI agents that aren't going to get you fired. That sort of thing, or your company go bankrupt. So that's one area, and let me just illustrate it by a really simple example. Um, I was on a panel with the CTOs of some major companies, and we were talking about how hard it is to get quality data and how changeable things are and how you have to keep really up to date and keep track of what's happening. And somebody mentioned that they had built AI buddies for all of their employees. So, what is an AI buddy? AI Buddy is a on-prem AI. It's not a very smart one. It's not an edge one at all. But what it has done is it's read all the manuals that you haven't read and the newsletter that you never really get to. And it also has news from what other people are doing around the company. And so what it is keeping you in the loop. We have all these things, but people never use them. We're too busy. You were talking about some of this earlier. When people watch this podcast, it's when they have a little more time, right? So time is an important thing. So you can make a little AI that pays attention to what everybody else does and helps you, right? Says, oh, I see you're doing this. Over in this other department, they do it differently. You might want to think about it. Not telling you what to do. If you're in a situation where the AI is telling you what to do, you have made a mistake. You need advisors, you need something to help direct your attention, your context, and so forth. But don't let it make decisions, at least not, in the next several years, because they're not that reliable. They're not bad, but they're not that reliable. And so this notion of AI buddies is trivial to spin up. I mean, this is just a few days of work by a good team, and you have all the data resources already. But it really changes the culture of a company because now people know what everybody else is doing. It's not like you're working in this isolated place anymore. And it's particularly good for work from home, and it's particularly good for distance places. So you have an office in Timbuktu or wherever, right? How do they stay in the loop? Well, this is brilliant for that, and it's like very very cheap and very very easy. So what this is something that it really helps do things by aiding human memory and human attention. And I said, what people do when they make decisions is they look what other people do. Well, it's helping you do that. It's not telling you what to do. It's helping you be a better human at finding out what are the options. So that's one thing. The second thing I want to talk to you about, or just to sort of answer your big question, is a thing called deliberation.io. So these are all open source. All the science is there. You can get as geeky as you want, right? Um, but what it does is it's sort of like Twitter/X, except that there are no big voices. You just contribute things, and then what it does is it does a visualization of what everybody thinks. Uh, and you know what that does? That just destroys polarization. Polarization comes from having people, you sort of think about, well, what does the other side think? But when you ask that question, the thing that immediately comes to mind is the crazy guy with 5 million followers. And indeed, there are crazy guys with $5 million. But most people agree on even very contentious things. Like if you look at things like abortion or gun control, most people in the United States actually agree. And we're reasonably liberal, but then there are voices on the end that will, if you allow them into the discussion, that's the end of discussion. Now it's a polarized fight to the end, right? So you set it up like that, and then the other thing we have in there is AI as mediator. So a general principle of what we try to do is not have AIs tell you what to do. They want to remind you what other people are doing, what could happen, things like that. So they're like a good librarian more. But in this case, it's a little bit more than that. It's something called Socratic dialogue. So the AI, in addition to the visualization of what everybody is saying, will have little summaries like, I hear people saying this, but then some people say that. That's not adding its own content. There's a little bit of room for bias in there, but it turns out they're really good at that sort of stuff. And so what it can do is listen to a large number of people and say, here's the themes I come out. It turns out that if you reflect that back to people, they do just dandy. In experiments we have, people like the AI summaries twice as well as they like human summaries. Think about that. And this is the normal people. This is not like specialized experts, and it's not a fancy AI at all. You can do this with a really cheap AI. It's just trying to keep people on track. That's really all it's doing, and trying to make them aware of the context. We did this with Washington, D.C., the city, not the Senate and people like that. And we asked them, what do you want for AI in city government? Sort of interesting, right? And the thing that none of us experts, quote unquote, expected is what the people wanted. And we're talking about people who are, two jobs, three kids. They haven't got a lot of time. They're real people, right? What they wanted is they wanted AI to defend them against the city. They wanted a personal AI that would help them deal with all the regulations and find opportunities and fill out those damn forms and et cetera, so that they could get onto the important things in life and wouldn't miss out on opportunities. So when we did this big group discussion with the people of Washington, D.C., what they wanted was personal agents to help them get by. And so I think those are two themes that are real good examples of what you can do. So the deliberation thing, I mean, just think about it. Imagine that all your meetings were twice as good as they are now. Maybe they only go on half the time. Maybe their decision is twice as good, but you like them a lot better than you do now. It's the number one thing people complain about in companies and in other organizations is the endless meetings. Well, now you have a very simple way that doesn't, intrude on the human agency and our sort of humanness um, to make decisions faster, better, more inclusively. Well, okay, this is just something that we put together. It's all there. It's on the web, etc. Um, it's on GitHub actually, but same thing. But you know, just think what we could do by taking this sort of approach of helping people think better rather than trying to replace people.